what converged comms actually means?
Yeah, 100%. I think often that's the blessing and the curse of Microsoft is we have these terminology and phrases that we use in day-to-day life. And for us that work with Microsoft closely, we get that. We understand that terminology and language. So essentially, they should really have called this the Teams, the end-to-end Teams Unified Communications and Collaboration Award. Because essentially, gone are the days are having multiple multiple bespoke solutions, each with their own niche markets, and having that situation where I think we joked before, going on holiday, you had to have your digital camera for taking photos, your mobile for making phone calls, your Game Boy for playing games on. Yeah. Now you just want an iPhone that does it all, and that essentially is converged comms. It's consolidation of the various different communication models and solutions that you have, and consolidating those into one bundled solution, and that one single pane of glass or one throat to choke or one hand to shake model, where you can have that seamless user experience across all of those channels. Because that's definitely the thing with where Microsoft Teams is really competing, is it's not jack of all trades, master of none. It has become a master in each of these verticals. And then now we've converged them.
Absolutely. And, you know, like I'd say probably over the last year, Microsoft have talked about, like, they've used converged comms in their language, like dealing with partners, but to customers, like you say, they don't necessarily pick up on that phrase and what it actually means. But then just a couple of weeks ago, we had Giles and Tom go over to Seattle for the first converged comms boot camp, you know, encompassing the Teams platform that went deep into Teams Phone, Teams Rooms, and Copilot as well, because and also you add into that Teams Premium, you know, and then like when I've been looking at the recent just this week, the Microsoft FY25 priorities. So like we have this call for all the different areas. So there's modern work, there's security, there's biz apps, there's Azure as well. We don't tend to get into the Azure stuff because we're not in that space, but for modern work, biz apps, which is becoming more prominent for Simity because of the Dynamics 365 contact center coming through, like over that fence almost. There's a real, again, it's just like you're bringing all of those things together now, and it makes sense to essentially have not a program but an organization that uses converged comms as their overall overarching message, if you like.
Yeah, and I think one thing that you and I will sort of refer back to is that how, what, and why do organizations look at technology. And I think converged comms is very much the how. You know, what people are, the what is what Microsoft is sort of telling everyone at the moment. What you need to do is you need to help enable hybrid working, flexible workspaces, improve productivity through IT communication. How do you do that? You converge all your communication solutions into a simple, easy to use piece. And that's when you then start looking at the why does that help? And I think understanding the why is the key thing here for a lot of organizations. As you said, there's more and more bridges happening across the Microsoft stack. Gone are the days where there was a Teams specialist, a compliance specialist, a SharePoint specialist, Exchange specialist. We're now talking about modern work or converged comms as an overarching and bridging solution. So, my question is to you: why is converged comms so important? Do you think is so important to helping that that what, which is enabling companies to do that hybrid work?
So the why, it's always a very challenging subject, you know. You look at and I loved it, the fact that, you know, we spoke about the Simon Sinek why, because it's just so good. It's a bit old now, but it's still really prominent. And if you haven't seen it, go and take a look at it. It's Simon Sinek. Was it Magic Circle? No, Golden Circle, I think it was. So yeah, go and take a look at that, because that's really interesting, especially if you're trying to establish your company why as well. But anyway, going back to your question, I went all political there, didn't I? Not answering the question. Why is it important to have the converged comms all under one roof, if you like? Well, I guess it just makes the messaging a little bit more simpler, from a Microsoft perspective, and also from a partner perspective. So you can start a conversation with a customer, say around, okay, we're going to take a look at your converged comms, and they're going to go, well, what's that? And it's like, well, it encompasses all of the aspects of the Teams platform and a little bit more, like Copilot. So that makes it clearer for the customer to digest and understand. But from a customer perspective, why is converged comms important to them? I would say, again, it's that common platform. Again, from customers' perspective, they can digest that information of what you, the salesperson, is telling them, and then relay that message internally, because that's always a really difficult thing to do. From what I've seen in the past, is you go and tell one person, or maybe three or four, okay, this is what you need and this is why. And then they need to go back into the organization and explain that to their bosses too. So actually, it just makes that flow of conversation, I think, a bit better. I think kind of answers your question.
No, it's very interesting, obviously, that you what you're talking about there is definitely much around that user experience. People are utilizing Microsoft Teams in their day-to-day. I think in the UK, it's something like 70% of organizations are utilizing Microsoft Teams in one way or the other, be it just for chat, sharing documents, for video, internal calling, internal meetings, meeting rooms, or telephony.
Yeah.
Someone is using one element, or 75%, I think. Don't quote me on the statistics. I apologize if I got those wrong. 60% of the stats are made up on the spot and all that. But I know I did read somewhere that it's something like 75% of organizations in the UK, at least, are utilizing Microsoft Teams in one fashion or the other. Yeah. And I think, therefore, it has become a very, very familiar interface that people know and are so used to. And I think that is so powerful. You look at the evolution of the iPhone and some of the other technologies out there. I know so many people who are not trapped, but will never leave iPhone, not just because it's a great product, but because they know how it works, and that everyone's listening to that change, and they know where things are and they know how it works. And I think that, from a converged comms perspective, is very important because of that user experience, and that the why there is very much around ease of use and making sure that it's that uniform experience across all platforms.
Yeah, and it's the trusted business platform.
Exactly.
Ultimately, isn't it? You can access all of your documents anywhere on any device, and that's what it's about. So yeah, done a really good job, I think, on that side of things.
Yeah, and I think one thing as well that that's from an end user perspective, but from an organizational level as well, is, it used to be the situation where you had your legacy phone system, you had your chat solution or internal chat solution that you might be utilizing, and then you'll have your legacy document share. I'm trying very carefully not to drop other vendors into the mix here, but other document collaboration sharing platforms. And speak to some people, and they literally have 4 or 5 different products opposed to having Teams. And I think when you talk about consolidation and converging all technologies into a single platform, there's an element of management and lifecycle management of that application suddenly becomes so much easier because you're managing one application opposed to 5. There's an element of commercially more viable. Obviously, you're already paying for this product, and it does the product of the jobs of 5 products. So consolidation is more cost effective, both from a licensing perspective, a personnel required to support that, and generically around support contracts, right? So most organizations out there will have a first or second line support, will reach out to someone, like Simity or Microsoft partners to get that third and obviously through to the 4th line application support as well. If you've got one application, you're basically essentially getting one contract, one party who's an expert in that field, opposed to 5 different support contracts, each are sort of masters in their individual fields, and therefore there's more contract management, there's more financial management, and all the other things that we don't think about directly in terms of what's actually impacting your business model. And that's, it's sort of that sustainability model, isn't it? Of 5 people, if you can get 5 products consolidating to one product is more environmentally friendly. And that's across the board. I know you're a fan of the old recycle glassware, for example. So
here we go. There's my drinking apparatus.
Still waiting for the Marmite glass to come out. Bit of an aftertaste in that one.
Awesome.
But yeah, so it's that there's so many things outside of sort of the tangible that Converged Comms can really help, because as you mentioned, that user experience, if you're used to something, you're quicker on it. And I think that's the beauty of Converged Comms. There's the tangible binary, it saves you money, it's easier to manage, but then it's that non-tangible effects of, the user experience means you're more productive and more engaged and genuinely happier in the workplace. I'm sure we've all had that bit where potentially, a product has been rolled out, a technology has been rolled out with the organization, you've not had the effective user adoption or change management, and you end up pulling your hair out because you can't get your expenses in, or you can't get your holiday booked. So
and you end up giving up.
Exactly.
You give up on it. That's what we don't want.
That's where that ease of use and that familiar platform, no one's ever gone, I don't know how to do this, because they know where Teams is and you can guide someone through it quite easily. It's on the left, you open up the phone tab, people know very easily where to look and how to find that.
I think just one sort of like final point from my side. I mentioned earlier about the FY25 priorities, especially for modern work. There is a lot of investment coming in from Microsoft's side to help partners deliver pilots, especially around Copilot. So in FY25, which starts on Monday, essentially, there's going to be there are a lot of options for customers to help roll out various stages of their Copilot journey, and obviously because Simity is part of that Jumpstart program, we have access to those pilots and everything like that. So FY25 big play again from Microsoft on the Copilot side of the house.
Well, I think obviously the plan was that for FY25 we were going to start this as a weekly update, then chat with you and I on Friday, get some topics to talk about. Obviously part of the year was a big one to talk about Converged Comms this week. Obviously with FY25 being the year of AI and obviously all the technologies, it'd be great to have a sit down next week and talk about what's potentially new coming to Copilot, what's the thoughts on Copilot, and where we see this going over the next sort of 12 months.
Yeah, sounds good to me. This has been fun. Thank you very much.
It has been fun. Do this again.
All right. Cheers, Gordon.
Perfect. Touch again.